Welcome to Wildlife Yoga. I'm Jess and we have another prenatal class for you today. This class is going to be focused on connecting to our intuition, and all the poses are going to be nice and restorative. So go ahead and grab a couple of blocks, grab a pillow and maybe a blanket, and I'll meet you on the mat. So as always, we're going to start in a seated position. If you need to elevate your hips to feel a little bit more comfortable, go ahead and place a block beneath your sit bones. And we'll start with a mudra called Sita Mudra. And so for this one, we actually bring our pointer and thumb fingers together and touch them together like this. And then we have the other fingers pointed up towards the ceiling. All the pads of the pinky, ring finger, and middle fingers are touching. And we'll bring that close to our heart here. And the goal with this mudra, if you look at it, it kind of looks like two eyes and then something extending out through the top of it. And the goal with this mudra is to help to see through the limiting beliefs that we might be holding and find the deep inner truth. So I like to think of the two eyes here as, you know, our eyes, and then this line coming through here as coming through that third eye, seeing the clarity through those different things. Okay, so we'll start with the Sita Mudra right against our chest and take some big deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the nose. Allowing space for yourself to feel. Space for yourself to acknowledge difficult emotions, difficult thought processes that maybe have popped up for you throughout this pregnancy. Maybe thoughts or feelings that have come through becoming pregnant as your body has been changing, or as you contemplate birth. It's quite a time of change and expansion. And taking time to honor that there is calm that can extend through all of that. There is space for you to feel, space for you to be, and space for you to grow. And take just a couple more breaths here. Breathing in and out through the nose, feeling the expansion and contraction through the belly. And then go ahead and release your hands, shaking them out, letting out anything that rose up in you and acknowledging it's okay if it comes back up. We can always return to this process of recognizing what we're feeling and letting it go. And go ahead and remove the block that you're sitting on. If you would like to keep your hips elevated, or if you'd like to change the position that you're sitting on, you're more than welcome, or the position you're sitting, you're more than welcome to do that as well. From here, go ahead and walk your fingertips out so that they are wide enough to touch the mat, but barely touching the mat. So draw your right ear towards your right shoulder and just take some gentle tilting, drawing your chin closer towards your chest and then up towards the ceiling. Just notice how that stretch gets into the deep areas of the neck. And for me, throughout this pregnancy, my sleeping position and sleeping patterns have changed quite a bit. And sometimes I wake up in the morning with a very tight neck. And just taking some time to breathe into this can be really, really helpful. And we'll let our chin drop down to the chest and roll our left ear towards our left shoulder. Again, tilting the chin up towards the ceiling and then down towards the chest. Moving with the breath. Allowing your intuition to tell you if there is a spot that you need to spend a little bit more time on, and delve into that spot and pause there. And we'll lift back up to center. Go ahead and walk your fingertips backwards so that we can gently open up through the chest, open up through the throat. And then we'll take our fingertips and walk them forward, rounding just a little bit. And it's okay if you don't have much room here. If your belly's already in the way, you might not be able to go as far, and that's all right. Just walking those fingertips forward. Maybe rounding through your spine to feel some openness through the upper back, letting the chin come down towards the chest. And then we'll walk our hands back again, back behind, opening up through the throat, opening up through the heart. And then walking the hands forward, rounding through the spine. And walking the hands back once again. And forward one last time. Make your way back to center once again, adjusting your legs if you need to. Maybe it would feel good to switch the cross of the legs. And walk your right hand out towards the side as you lift your left arm up overhead. Now with this left arm lifted, your right arm, you can keep it straight and long with your elbow lifted, or you can come all the way down or even grab a block to provide you a bit more support if you need some of that middle ground there. And we'll take some big circles through the left arm, rotating around, moving with the breath. Again, pausing anywhere that you feel you need a bit more attention on opening and healing and expanding. Breathing into those places, rotate the arm in the other direction. Continuing your breath. I'm saying hello to this little plant right here. And then when you're finished with those rotations, we'll just stretch up and over, really trying to make a C shape with the left side body. Breathing into the ribs. Maybe peeling open a little bit. And then we'll rise all the way back up, taking our block, if you used it on the other side, to the opposite side, walking those left fingertips out, resting the forearm on the block if you'd like to, or all the way down on the ground if you have space, lifting that right arm up and over, and take some arm circles here, moving intuitively with your breath. Feeling the openness that can come through rotating the shoulder. Maybe you're feeling some openness through the back, maybe some openness through the chest. Just listen to what your body is needing, and we'll rotate in the other direction. Again, also using your intuition to go as far as feels comfortable for you. And take one last rotation, lifting that arm up and overhead, making a little C shape with the right side body, breathing into the side of the ribs. And then we'll rise all the way back up, moving that block over to the side if you were using it. We'll shake the arms out. Go ahead and shift positions with your legs if you need to, maybe sitting onto the heels this time. If you'd like to stay cross-legged, you're more than welcome to. But we'll start by bringing the hands up to the shoulders, and we'll just start to twist. the intensity that you twist with will depend on how far along you are in your pregnancy. If you are earlier along, you might be able to twist more into your belly. If you're a bit further along like I am, you might just be twisting up into your upper body. So just go as far as you need. Again, listening to your intuition. And this kind of helps to find just a natural rhythm of breathing. You'll notice that your breath will just start to find its own pattern and just follow that. You can close your eyes. And just imagine wading through those thoughts or beliefs that might not be serving you at this time or during this pregnancy, and letting those things go. And we'll slowly come back to center, just letting your body find equilibrium on its own. And then take those hands down. We'll walk the hands forward and come onto all fours. So on all fours, spread your fingertips nice and wide. Tuck your toes under and push them into the mat. Bring your knees a bit wider if you need to. And we'll just start with some small circling, focusing on the sacrum here. And if this feels really comfortable for you, you're more than welcome to stay circling here. If you'd like to, you can also start trying to make some figure eights with the hip. So lifting up on one side and then bringing it down, crossing to the other side. Just imagining you're drawing an infinity or a figure eight shape with the very center of your sacrum. And remember, your sacrum is the space right here, right in between your hip bones, the very base of your spine, where those last few vertebrae are essentially fused together, right between the lumbar spine and the tailbone. And find some movement here. And if your intuition is calling you to make these circles even bigger, go ahead and listen to that. And allow your breath to be nice and deep. If you need to adjust the stance of your knees, if you are moving a bit more and you need more room for belly and for baby, go ahead and do that. And then we'll come all the way back to center. And we'll just take a couple of pelvic tilts, moving just in a straight linear direction, tilting the tailbone back and then tilting it under, not worrying about moving from side to side, just finding a place of equilibrium again. And then we'll come all the way back to a neutral spine and take figure eights in the opposite direction. So drawing those circles, you can also do circles with your sacrum if you would like, but making those figure eights just in the opposite direction that you were doing it before. Moving with your breath, moving with your intuition. And take a couple more rounds and make your way back to center. We'll keep the toes tucked under as we walk the hands back, bringing your hands back behind you. Walking your hands back behind you really gently and just maybe letting your gaze look up towards the ceiling, opening up through your heart, maybe lifting up a little bit through your hips. Just gently here to bring some length through the front of your thighs. And then we'll walk the hands forward. Bringing the knees nice and wide, coming all the way down to a child's pose. And remember, you can have the tops of the feet down, or you can have the toes tucked under to help give you some space. You can even keep your hips lifted up nice and high. Just take time to notice what your body is needing. And we'll rise up onto all fours again. Grabbing your blocks or whatever you're using to help support your body. Oops. And we'll try to put our weight into our blocks here, but we're going to keep our right knee down as we extend our left leg back. So if you would like to get more into the back of the left leg, you can start to lift up. And I would, if you do choose to do that, I would probably not use the blocks here. I would just push the hands into the mat for kind of this variation of a downward facing dog. But if it does feel good just to stay here and try to work on bringing that left heel down towards the mat, then go ahead and do that. And with our left leg extended, we're just focusing on opening up through the back of that left leg. And then we'll switch sides, bringing the left knee down, extending the right leg back, bringing that right heel down towards the mat. And again, if you'd like to take this deeper, you can you don't have to use the blocks, and instead kind of come into this variation of downward facing dog. So we're not too far inverted, but we are working into the back of the right leg. Keeping your breath long and strong. And then we'll go ahead and come back down onto our knees, grabbing your blocks again. We'll step our left leg forward, bringing one hand to rest on the blocks, and then we'll reach our left arm back. So right arm on the block, left arm is back, reaching for the right ankle, keeping the toes flexed, and focusing on opening up through the front of the right thigh. And if this is kind of a twist that's becoming too much, if you don't have as much room for your belly, you can actually switch the stance by bringing your left hand to the inside and bringing your right arm back. So having opposite arm and opposite leg will bring in a little bit more of a twist. But if you do need more room for belly, more room for baby, then keep the same arm reaching for the same leg here. We'll gently release, hinging back, opening up, finding some wiggle room. And then we'll switch sides, this time bringing the right leg forward, hinging forward, bringing the right arm back and around for the left ankle for a bit more of a twist. You can come back and look back behind you if you'd like to try that. Or if you need a bit more room for baby, just reaching back with that left hand. Keeping your breath nice and long. Trying to keep engagement through your glute to stay nice and active. And then we'll gently release, again straightening out that right leg, making some little circles here. Finding some evenness across the hips and across the back. And then we'll go ahead and come all the way down onto our knees, and we'll keep the right arm or the left arm planted just to start, bringing your knees a bit wider as needed. And we'll take a variation of thread the needle here. So taking the left leg out to the side, lifting your right arm up overhead, and then threading it underneath and through. So having our leg out to the side provides a bit more stability or some more space for baby, so space and stability at the same time. And then with your left arm, you can keep it closer to your face, but if you'd like a little bit more of a chest stretch, if you'd like to try to twist a little bit more, bring it to the ground up and over your head. Now, the further along you go, this can be quite constricting on the lungs because everything's kind of floating up and pushing against the base of the diaphragm. So if you're breathing kind of hard, just acknowledge it's okay. Just listen to your body. If you need to come out of it sooner than we do, then go ahead and do that. And go ahead and bring that left arm down, push your way all the way back up. We'll make our way to the other side, taking our right leg out to the side this time. And then we'll lift our left arm up towards the sky and then bringing it down and under, finding a nice and comfortable space here. And then bringing your right arm so that your right fingertips are touching the ground up and over your head. Keep your breath long and strong. Listening to that intuition. If you need to come out of the posture a little bit earlier, that is perfectly okay. And then gently bring that hand down and lift all the way back up. And we'll go ahead and grab our block again. And if you'd like to have access to a pillow, this will help for when we do our next exercise in just a minute. And one nice thing here is if you are experiencing hemorrhoids at all, having a little bit of this extra cushioning can hopefully feel quite soothing to that area. So we'll get into our Malasana squat, resting on the block, adjusting everything as needed. And here we'll have the knees nice and wide, bringing the elbows in to the insides of the knees. And for this part, we are focusing on opening up through the hips. Now, it's a common misconception to think that this is birthing stance, but really, if you think about it, this is constricting the back of our perineum because our legs are out wide. True birthing stance would be with our knees in a little bit more like this, because then instead of being constricted, we're kind of opening up this way. So it does really open us up in the front, but we want to focus more on opening throughout the entire perineum area. So right now, we're not in birthing stance. We are focused on opening up through the hips. I'm trying to stay nice and tall. And then we'll bring our right hand down to the inside of our right leg, maybe coming down so far that your shoulder is kind of at the same height as your knee here. And then maybe lift your left arm up overhead if you feel like you can stretch a bit more. Just try not to stretch too far into the belly. Just be very mindful. If you feel like you can go further, you can even reach your left arm back and around, going for a bind here. And no pressure to take it this far. Just go as far as your body feels comfortable. Breathing in and out, nice and deep. And then if you are bound, go ahead and gently release. We'll lift that left arm up overhead and then come back into center. Making our way over to the other side this time. We'll bring our left arm, our left hand down so that our left shoulder is about the height of our left knee. And then lift your right arm up overhead, opening up through the chest. And if it feels good for you to reach for the bind, you'll reach your right arm around, your left arm in front of your shin, and maybe reach for fingertips to help open up a little bit more. Keeping your breath long and strong. Keeping your right shoulder peeled open to stay open through your chest. And then we'll gently release. Now we'll walk the feet so that they're a little bit closer together. That might have been quite intense on the inner hips, but that's okay. And make sure that you take any extra movements if you need to. Wiggle the legs out. Now, this is more of an open birthing stance, okay? So we're going to practice some pelvic floor exercises here as we have our perineum resting on this pillow and on this block. So go ahead and close your eyes and visualize the very base of your perineum, the area between your sit bones on the left and right side, and then extending from your pelvic, your pubis, the very front of your pelvis, all the way to your tailbone. So kind of that diamond shape. And visualize a beautiful blooming flower with petals facing down. So it's a blooming flower that's opening downwards towards where we're sitting. And with every inhale, this flower opens and the petals expand. And with every exhale, the petals close and our pelvic floor lifts up. As we inhale, diaphragm lowers and so does the perineum. And as we exhale, the opposite happens. The diaphragm lifts and the perineum also lifts. And as you're visualizing this flower blooming and opening and then closing and lifting, allow the muscles, the tissues of your perineum to also follow that, allowing them to relax and reach down towards the thing you're sitting on. And then as you exhale, drawing that up and away. So as you inhale, the flower blooms and opens. And as we exhale, the flower closes and lifts. Inhale, bloom, open and lower. Exhale, close and lift. Inhale to relax. And exhale to tense. I'll take a few more breaths like this. And then we'll gently come out of our birthing squat stance. So shifting off of your block and pillow that you're sitting on, we'll set up for restorative posture here. So using your blocks or using whatever you have, we're going to try to create an incline here. Now we'll have one block down and one block up, and you can adjust the height of this base block just depending on what your body is needing. And then we'll take the bolster or pillow or blanket even and put it on top here. So, and I'll just show you really quick, we're coming into Upavishta Konasana, so bringing the legs nice and wide. If this is too intense and you are pretty tight through your legs, it's more than okay to come into Janu Shirsasana variation instead. So we'll keep a leg out wide as if we were in Upavishta and instead bring one leg in. So we're only focusing on one at a time. So just notice what your body needs. So wherever you're at, adjusting as necessary. So with your hips close to the base of the pillow or the blanket, we will try to keep the hips back as we fold forward. So remember, as we're coming forward here, we don't want to be rounding through the spine to get there, especially through the low back. We want to try to stay nice and open. So even though this is a restorative pose and we are going to be relaxing onto the pillow, we want to stay nice and active by engaging the glutes and tilting our tailbone back. So lifting up nice and high, we'll slowly walk our chest forward, coming to a place that feels comfortable. Keeping your toes pointed up towards the ceiling. Keeping your tailbone pointed back. And we'll hold this here for a few minutes. Hopefully you're able to find a nice place to rest and relax. If you do need a bit more support, if you have a secondary pillow or a blanket, you can also fold it on top so you have a bit more support here for yourself. And we'll just start by resting one cheek on the mat, on the pillow, and allow your breath to become long and strong, trying to find that balance between activation and relaxation. So a good way to focus on this is with every inhale, focus on tilting the tailbone back and pointing those toes up towards the sky. And with every exhale, allowing your body to soften and rest into the posture. And it's okay also if you do have one foot in and the other foot out, if you're in the Janu Shavasana variation. And then we'll gently lift up and switch sides. If you do need to switch sides for Janu Shavasana, go ahead and do that. If not, we'll just shift so that our ear is facing the opposite direction. And I'm just going to shift to demonstrate what this looks like from the other side. So I have my block supporting me, my pillow here, my toes are pointed up towards the ceiling, and my head is resting to the other direction now. With every inhale, think about drawing your toes up towards the ceiling, and with every exhale, allow your body to soften. And along with every inhale, drawing your tailbone back. So tailbone back, toes up for the inhale, exhale, and relax into the pose. And then from here, we'll slowly rise all the way up, moving our props off to the side. Bringing your legs in, giving them a little bit of a rest here by bringing our hands behind, and we'll just windshield wiper our legs from side to side a little bit. Allowing our bodies to find a space of calmness, not holding on to any more tension. And then we'll come back to seated. So just to release the front of the legs here, and be very, very mindful as you're going through this. Be mindful of how your body is feeling here. So I'm gonna bring one block out to the side so I can easily reach it. And I'll use my pillow or blanket, whatever, to support the back of my ribs. So laying back onto the spine, just briefly, we don't want to lay on the back for an extended period of time, especially the further along in the pregnancy, so we don't put too much weight on our inferior vena cava. We'll plant the feet on to the mat and just lift up the hips here. And you can keep this as an active exercise by keeping the feet planted, or if you'd like to make it a bit more relaxing, you can bring a block to rest beneath your the back of your hips and your sacrum. If you'd like to get even more into it, you can lift the block up to a bit of a higher stance as well. So just notice what your body is needing. And remember, this is a slight inversion. So if you need to take time to come in and out of it to allow your blood flow to equalize, go ahead and do that. But find a nice and comfortable place here. If you'd like to open up a bit more through the legs, extend your legs out in front of you, allowing your body to gently relax into this opening through the hip flexors in front of the thighs. Allowing your shoulders to rest and relax. I realized my pillow is more under my head than under my ribs here, so I'm just scooting it down a little bit more so I'm not compressing through my chest so much. And again, if you do feel like you can go a bit further with your opening through the front of your thighs, then you can lift that block up to a bit higher. I'll take just a few more breaths here. And we'll bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the mat, lift the hips, remove the block, and lay all the way down your spine. We'll just take a few windshield wiper type movements to get some equilibrium back through the low back. Maybe as you're twisting side to side, you bring your hands to your belly and feel that movement. And then we'll roll all the way onto our sides, using our arm to help adjust. And if you are familiar with laying in a reclined position with your blocks and that feels really comfortable for you, you can do that. Or if you'd like to stay on your side, grab something that you can put between your knees so that both your knees and your ankles are supported. And your head is supported as well. So trying to find as much of a neutral spinal position as we can while we lay on our side here. We'll just find that comfortable place. Breathing deeply. Allowing your body to rest for Shavasana. Maybe bringing your hand to your belly. My little one's moving a lot right now. As soon as I stop moving, she likes to move a lot. Allowing your body to become nice and heavy. Noticing maybe any movements you're feeling in your belly. And just acknowledge and appreciate yourself for taking time to take care of your body and your baby at the same time. Remembering that Sita Mudra, the intuition that we have inside of us and the intuition our body has to just do this whole thing the whole time. To grow this baby and then eventually to birth this baby as well. Feel free to stay in this Shavasana as long as you would like to. And when you're ready, we'll practice again lifting up from the side by using our hands rather than contracting through the stomach. Using our hands to help us lift up, moving any props over to the side. Come up to a nice and comfortable seat. Sitting nice and tall. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears on an inhale, and then exhale, let them drop down. Do that 5 times. Breathe in. Dropping the shoulders on the exhale. Last time. Really nice. I hope that each of you take time to listen to your intuition and to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. Be able to see through those things that are convoluting our mind and our emotions, and finding the peace that can be through all of that. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.